So, Mohammed, the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix, how did you find that?
um, I'd say exciting. It's one of the
Yeah,
best races I've seen recently. I don't know. I
definitely.
feel like it carried on from like the end, or the second half of 2019, where it was just chaos.
Yeah,
Like just what two safety cars? What are we averaging? Two safety cars a race now.
yeah,
That's what we like. Obviously, we don't like to see them crash, but like safety cars
yeah.
makes it exciting.
It feels like ever since we had that French Grand Prix last year, we've just been getting great races ever since.
Yeah,
Oh, it's been really good. So, let's go into. I want to start with Saturday. Um, in qualifying, um, Bottas brought out the yellow flag on the final run at Q3,
yeah.
and Hamilton received a penalty for that. What did you think of that?
To be honest, I didn't mind that he got a penalty because it kind of, if I don't know if you get it, but it kind of made the race more exciting towards the beginning because he had to do a bit more overtaking rather than just chasing Bottas. But um, the actual reason he got the penalty, whereas like the yellow flags, he didn't slow during yellow flags. I don't really agree with that because wasn't he already like past him?
Well, this is the whole story that came out on Sunday morning. So I didn't even realize that he got a penalty until I started watching the
Yeah,
race. That's
yeah,
how
me
late it
neither.
was. So the way that it worked was apparently the T cam on his car broke. Can you imagine that? So you know the 360-degree camera they have at the front of the car.
Yeah, yeah.
The way that the penalty worked was that F1 took the footage from that camera, uploaded it to their website, and Red Bull had to go on and look at that footage and then prove to the stewards with that footage. Can you imagine that? How long that is for a sport that's so high tech?
Wait, so they had to go to the F1 website rather than just ask for access toward.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems a bit. What do you call it? Not. That's something I would expect from like something like minor, like if we were just doing it on YouTube to prove that he deserved a penalty or something. But like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect I wouldn't expect an F1 team to not have access to just another car's cameras and have to
Yeah.
go on the website.
Yeah.
I think there
Well,
should
for
just
me,
be. Yeah.
oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said I think F1 teams should just have access to each other's cameras rather than have to go on Google and search it up to
Yeah.
prove it.
Yeah. Well, for me, this has brought up a bigger question about how yellow flag rules should work in qualifying, because it's kind of ironic that it's been Bottas again. Because if you remember the Mexican Grand Prix last year, the same thing happened with Verstappen. Remember that? So, um, I don't know how if it should be reformed because obviously the yellow flags are there for safety, but if a car in front can go off and cause a safety car, no, a yellow flag, and then get a pole position, it is a bit questionable.
Yeah, we saw this with Rosberg a while.
Yeah, at
Um,
Monaco, yeah.
yeah, I think the cars behind should just get an extra lap. But
Mm,
I
yeah,
think I think that would like maybe discourage. I'm not saying that they did it on purpose, but I feel like it might like make drivers more careful. Because if you're just like if you know you're gonna get pole position if you go off the track, like come on, like what are you
yeah,
inclined to do?
yeah.
But I don't think Bottas did it on purpose in that case. I definitely think Rosberg did, but
Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't
uh,
think Bottas did it on purpose, but it's just open to question, really.
mm,
So, yeah. So Hamilton got the grid penalty, and it promoted Lando Norris to third, I believe.
yeah, he did. Well, to be fair though, when it comes to that specific yellow flag, Ricardo did get his lap ruined by it.
Yeah,
He did say
yeah,
that there were yellow flags, but Hamilton, I guess he was already like in the zone of like driving, going through the lap to
yeah,
notice the yellow flags.
yeah, yeah. So if we move on to Sunday, the start of the race, what did I know? The first thing I noticed at the start of the race was how aggressive Lando Norris was in the first lap.
Yeah, yeah, he just had the extra grip from the softer tires, didn't he?
Yeah,
Whereas,
it seemed like
yeah,
him and Verstappen were side by side for the entire first lap,
mm,
which was really amazing to see. It really reminded me of F3 and F2 where that was happening between all the drivers.
yeah, I did appreciate like, I actually appreciate Lando actually going for it rather than you know, some drivers I don't think would be ambitious enough to actually just go for a Red Bull, try and overtake him, or if you're in like a
Yeah,
McLaren, which I can
yeah,
respect.
yeah. So, do you think that the so in qualifying, Verstappen set in Q2, he set a banker on the mediums.
Mm.
He went out on softs and then he aborted his lap to get in the medium tires. Do you think that was the best strategy option at the time? And do you think it paid off during the race?
Well, he did retire like 11
Yeah,
laps in, so we don't really get to see um, what what he could have done. But to be honest, I don't think if everything stayed the exact same throughout the race and he didn't retire, I don't think he would have seen the benefit of the medium.
yeah,
The first safety car was 26 laps in, so
yeah. It did seem like he was losing a lot of time to Bottas ahead because Bottas was able to stretch a gap.
mm. But then he was able to stretch a gap over Lando. But I think Hamilton
Yeah,
would eventually would have caught him.
yeah,
But I don't know if he would have got back to Hamilton if Hamilton's tires were going to start to dig. But
yeah,
it's all speculation from at this point.
yeah, yeah. Whoa, at least we get to see again this weekend. So yeah,
Yeah,
obviously Verstappen retired, and that was I found that really shocking at the time. And
yeah,
then we saw a lot of retirements during the race: Verstappen, Ricardo, Stroll, Russell. Um, I do find it quite interesting how there was such a high retirement number at this race.
yeah,
Do you think that's because we've had the gap since testing, and obviously the last race? Do you think it
yeah,
has to do with that? But I also thought that, you know, on the last episode I was saying how drivers might be rusty or some.
yeah,
I think maybe the curbs at Austria might have really factored into retirements.
yeah. We obviously saw Mercedes had an issue with them.
Yeah,
I think it was Mercedes like engines as well because
yeah,
Racing Point didn't Stroll retired and
yeah,
yeah and so did Russell, but I think it's just due to like the massive gap we had. I don't think like if you'd had a off the bat like started the season in Australia, I don't think we'd have however many retirements we had in this race. To be honest,
yeah,
oh, but
yeah,
it might just be the track. Maybe we'll have the same amount of retirements this race, this next race.
yeah,
Maybe it's literally just the curbs.
yeah.
So we'd literally have to
Well,
see.
Mercedes did eventually come out and say that they understand the issue that that the cars were suffering. They said it's because of electrical noise in the engine, and it's basically a design issue. That's going to be really interesting to see how they address that. But I saw a lot of people a lot. This always comes up at Austria, and also comes up at other races about how whether curbs should be so aggressive at tracks.
Yeah. I don't think they should change the track just because a couple of teams were have issues of going. Because realistically, let's be honest, the curb isn't actually part of the racing track. So if you're thinking of like, if you're thinking like follow the rules, you shouldn't actually be going on the curb. But obviously, you need to go onto the curb to get momentum and speed. But yeah, I feel like if your car can't handle the curbs, then that's on you. I feel like if another team like designed it so that they can handle the curbs or don't have the same issues as Mercedes does, then I literally don't see the problem.
Yeah. I always find it funny when people talk about curbs, but then when we go to Monaco or Singapore, no one ever talks about walls because people are able to avoid the walls at those tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember that, what do you call it? The Singapore sling or the chicane.
Yeah.
That would have killed Mercedes if it was in this scene. Absolutely murdered that car. 2 laps in, retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, that
was funny.
Bring it back.
So we saw the first safety car come out when Magnussen retired due to brake failure.
Yeah.
Mercedes brought in a double stack onto hard tires. What do you think about that strategy option?
I thought it was the best thing that they could do at the time because if there wasn't another safety car, then they would have just eked those tires out to the end of the race.
Yeah.
And double stacking, I don't think Mercedes, they didn't actually lose a lot of time. Hamilton didn't.
Yeah.
So, and plus there's a safety car, so it wouldn't really matter if they lost that much time because So I think it was literally the best thing they could have done because if they waited another lap to bring Hamilton back, then he would have come out like third or something. So.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. Obviously, after that safety car, this is going to be a really big thing I want to talk about is that Ferrari this weekend, we really saw after that safety car came out and Vettel hit Sainz, I really, after qualifying and then after that happened, you really starting to realize how bad of a season Ferrari are having right now.
Yeah. They lose 0.7 of a second on the straights, and I don't know if that's solely down to engine or if it's both engine and aero, but you do have to question the engine from last year and this year's difference.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at it, last year didn't Leclerc set the lap record? But
yeah.
And now when they were qualifying, they were literally a second down on last year's car. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that engine was definitely, in my opinion, illegal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way of hiding it now because since they talked to what do you call it? The FIA about the engine and the FIA actually investigated it. They haven't had one pole position since then. So you make of that what you will. Yeah, I know Ferrari never really have since last season they haven't really had good aero. They always get the aero wrong.
Yeah.
So hopefully with the upgrades they can really like sort this out because obviously we do want to see them competing.
Yeah.
Because Vettel and Leclerc are good drivers, but obviously Vettel. The thing is with Vettel's mistake, it didn't look like he was trying to overtake him. I feel like the car just, I don't know, like just didn't do what he wanted it to do. Because even he said he wasn't trying to overtake him, and he was spinning before he actually even like touched Sainz. So
yeah, Yeah, you could definitely see that. It didn't look like an overtake. I think he just overshot it into the corner.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get as close as he could to get
Yeah,
into a slipstream.
yeah, yeah. I find it. I think it is obvious now that last season. I mean, to go from last year, Leclerc, Ferrari were on top of Monza, right? The most straight line dependent track, and then we come to Austria, which is also a straight line power dependent track, and they're down. They're down on last year, so it's obvious that last year they had an illegal engine. They're blowing oil into their engine, and when you look at Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari, they're all slower.
Yeah,
Haas and Alfa Romeo are at the back of the midfield with Williams now.
yeah,
And so yeah, that engine was illegal. They're losing 0.7 seconds on the straights, but also on top of that, Sebastian Vettel said that the car was unrecognizable, and he also said that he was happy to only spin it once. I don't know what's going on at that team, but there's something wrong, fundamentally wrong with that car. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, if you see the when he's driving it, it's
Yeah,
it just doesn't look like you can drive. Like, look at this. It doesn't
yeah,
look like you can drive it.
yeah,
Literally, he's turning in. You see, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't look right when I'm just looking
yeah.
at it.
Yeah, maybe setup issues. But when,
It's
when
like
you have a
lock up.
four-time champion, I don't feel like you should have setup issues on a team that big.
Yeah,
Yeah. But they have said that they're going to try and bring forward some upgrades from Hungary to this weekend.
yeah. Hopefully that does at least help with this fuckfest we're watching right now. Because
Yeah.
what he's literally like just understeer and then he's locking it and then he has to like straighten it out and then he's going in again and then it's just
Yeah.
never seen anything like that from.
Yeah.
And I saw people on Twitter like, one guy on Twitter was like, I did say that Ferrari were going to be like 2012 for Ferrari.
Yeah.
With, I don't even think that's going to be the case. I don't think they're going to win a race. What with what we
Yeah.
have, from what we've seen now,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll win a race off merit.
Yeah.
So if they're winning a race, then it has to be rain or the Mercedes retire and they beat Red Bull or something like that. Because
Yeah.
at this point, what they're I would even say they're not the third best team. That's McLaren. They're like the same as Racing Point, maybe slightly
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Racing Point was a bit overhyped, but
Yeah.
Ferrari definitely
But
disappointing.
with Ferrari, what I find the worst thing about Ferrari is that they get like the amount of money that they get from F1 for free is what Williams will spend in a year, and Ferrari still can't make a car that can compete with all the money that they have.
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I don't know where Ferrari goes from here with budget coming in, not next year, but the year after. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what they're gonna do with the budget.
Yeah. Well, it is actually coming in next year still, which makes it even more interesting.
Oh, don't they
Yeah.
have to keep the same chassis though?
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's a serious like issue then.
Yeah.
Because there's much aero and stuff you want to change and like engine and stuff, but chassis is also
Yeah.
important. So
Well, they are bringing upgrades, but I don't know if this issue can be solved. With
I
just
don't know what
upgrades.
there's just something wrong with it. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. Just fix it, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like we don't even. So in 2015 we used to say, oh, when we get to Hungary or when we get to Monaco or Singapore, they'll get a win. And when last year we said or when we get to like Monza or Spa, they'll get the wins there. We can't even say that about them this year because the chassis is so bad and the engine has been nerfed so hard that they don't have anything left.
To be honest, I don't. From the tracks we have left, I don't see what tracks like they could win on.
Yeah.
Like, let's say if Monaco is still on the calendar, if they had like a really good aero setup out of nowhere, engine really doesn't matter. And if they get like a really good qualifying, maybe they can do something. But I don't really see what they can do here.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to do anything Monza at Spa.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know. I just don't know what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it obviously will bring up questions about how Leclerc is signed until 2024, right? And they're bringing in Carlos Sainz for next year. If I was choosing a team right now, I wouldn't be looking at Ferrari because I don't see what they have that they can bring to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is about Ferrari though, that is really that's just quite funny. They always have like one really really bad season, so like 2009.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like 2014, and then all of a sudden they have a semi championship contending team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't really even know. Maybe Carlos did do the right thing. Maybe next year he'll have a championship winning car. I don't know.
Yeah. But on that point, ever since 2010, realistically, it always feels like next year's the year for Ferrari. They're gonna bring it back. Like we're always talking about Ferrari, how they're gonna get it right, and it never ever seems to come.
Yeah, well, they haven't won the Drivers' Championship since 2007. And
Yeah.
as much as like, actually, like if we're looking at this properly, Alonso couldn't win, and Vettel couldn't win, and we can have our doubts about Vettel and his mistakes and stuff, but let's be honest, he is one of the best drivers on the grid.
Yeah.
Alonso probably was the best driver on the grid at the time.
Yeah.
When you just look at it, there's just something not right there. Because, I don't know, when it comes to like, when you look at like Vettel, or you'd have to say that he wants an environment where he's not doing everything. Like he'd do things like strategy call. He'd make strategy calls. He'd be like, I'm not really sure if we should do this and stuff. Like, I remember him one Singapore, I don't know what year exactly, but Singapore qualified. He's like, we have to go out last so we can get the best qualifying lap, and he's making calls. So I don't know, like they need to sort out a lot of things more than just the car, because the strategy just isn't right. They did get the strategy right this race, but it's never consistent, is it?
Nah. Yeah, I don't know what Ferrari has to do now. They've tried everything for the last 10 years, and it's never seemed to beat Red Bull. Like Mercedes have been too good, or Red Bull have been too good. So I don't know. Going into the cost cap, I can't see them being competitive.
For a while,
yeah.
Unless they do something illegal with the money, which I would bet money that they'll do something shady with the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably like
definitely.
Hide engine development through the development of a road car. I don't know.
Yeah, or they'll maybe do something with Haas or Alfa Romeo or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe buy a whole new team and develop it just so they can get the best. I don't know. That's what they did. That's what they did with Haas, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know what to say more about Ferrari really. I guess we'd have to move on to like the next part of the race, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was a good
So
10-minute rant. Okay.
yeah, I'm always frustrated with Ferrari. So going on later into the race, it sort of emerged, like we were saying before, with the Mercedes reliability. I said to you, it seemed like they were telling the drivers don't use the curbs, right? But then Bottas would use the curbs, and then Hamilton would say, "Oh, he's using the curbs." So neither one was listening to the team. I found that quite interesting because it kind of seemed like they were pushing each other to retire.
You could make that argument. I wouldn't go that far saying pushing each other to retire, but I don't think either one wanted to give the other one an advantage.
Yeah.
Especially it's the first race. You have to remember.
Yeah.
Like these two are probably going to fight for the championship. Maybe Max, but
yeah,
I don't know. So I think they just didn't want to give advantage to each other because if one uses the curbs and the other one doesn't, like you're gonna obviously get like faster lap times at the cost of reliability. Some drivers would take that deal, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't use team orders like they've shown like they would do in the past because, I
don't think Mercedes would use.
What were we gonna say?
I said I don't think Mercedes would use team orders in this context.
Yeah.
I think it was like if the championship is on the line or something, like constructors would just be like hold position, or if one of their drivers is contending and the other one isn't, then obviously you're gonna let the other one pass. But I don't think they would use team orders on the first race. Couldn't imagine that. Not Ferrari 2002.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the same track as well. Yeah. So we're sort of going along there with Mercedes. They were out in front, and then Russell retired, brought out another safety car. Albon, Leclerc, Vettel, and Norris all pitted under the safety car. Quite good like strategy options there, I would say. We restarted, and then we had like a really bizarre incident with Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to explain that one, but his tire just flew off. So
yeah, I don't even know what the explanation was. I think it was maybe a faulty tire mechanism or something.
I think that's just a car failure, to be honest. But
yeah, so that was just a continuation of that safety car, I guess.
Then didn't Albon overtake Perez?
That was one thing. So Albon overtook Perez after the safety car. Really good move. The yellow flags came out, and then Albon gave the position back. Then the FIA told Perez to give the place back to Albon because apparently it was actually fair. It was before the yellow flag.
Yeah, he was like fully ahead before the yellow flag.
Yeah.
That was the right decision.
It was a really good move though, from what I saw. Yeah. So speaking of Albon, after the safety car, we had the big incident of the race when Albon going into turn 4 got around the outside, a really nice move, and then they collided. Albon goes off, and Hamilton came off unscathed.
Yeah. When I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, that's definitely Lewis's fault."
Yeah.
First saw it, but then as I watched it again, I watched it like a few times. There's nothing more that Lewis could have done, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, there's only so much racetrack available, but I wasn't upset at the podium, the time penalty anyway.
Yeah.
But
for me, I would say it is Hamilton's fault, and because Albon was ahead, Hamilton should have given way to Albon.
Yeah, no,
realistically.
if you could, I think the only thing he could have done was lift off maybe.
Yeah,
Because I definitely thought when the safety car began, I was like, Albon's going to win this race. Like Mercedes have issues.
yeah,
He's got fresh tires.
yeah,
Like you saw how much grip he had. Like we just swooped around the outside. So
yeah,
I feel like he was maybe a bit robbed. I don't know if the
yeah.
engine failure and stuff would have happened if he didn't spin out. But yeah, I feel like it was unfortunate for him.
Yeah. It is unfortunate that it has been Hamilton and Albon crashing two times in 3 races at the end of the race for potentially a race win. Yeah. Also, what I said to you as well was that this, in my mind, completely, absolutely says that the Vettel penalty at Canada last year was wrong from the FIA. 5 second time penalty, it was just wrong. If this is a 5 second time penalty, there's no way that that penalty was 5 seconds.
I'm gonna get heated. I don't even think that one was a penalty because what
The
you,
Hamilton,
you yeah, no,
the
the Vettel one, because you know my
yeah,
opinion on this. I don't know what he could have done. Literally, if
yeah,
okay, if he breaks, he comes onto the racetrack late. He goes into Hamilton. If he doesn't, and he loses control, he's going into the wall,
yeah,
and it's a
yeah,
safety car, and he loses the race. If he does what he did, then that's the best thing that for both parties.
yeah,
And as much as Hamilton said, "Oh, I wanted to overtake him on track," like let's be honest. After you saw the 5 second time penalty, you're just gonna stay within 5 seconds to win the race. You're not gonna
yeah,
do anything stupid.
yeah,
Like, and we both know in a million, like not even in a million years, just like 9 times out of 10, if it just carried on as it was supposed to with no penalty, Hamilton was not overtaking him anyway. The Ferrari was just too, the straight line speed was just too powerful, so he just stayed within 5 seconds anyway. So
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. I just wanted to put that out there because, obviously you can try and get better, but if this is a 5 second time penalty, that is a non-penalty.
This is a drive-through in the mid 2000s. Like I don't know what,
Yeah,
if I'm being like on it. Like obviously I look at it when I'm watching it, like from all the angles and stuff. I'm like, there's nothing he can do. But at the
yeah,
same time, you have to position your car correctly and leave enough space for the next car. Because when he went into the apex, Hamilton went too deep into the apex, not expecting Albon to just go around the outside of him. So
yeah,
I guess if he went in a bit tighter, maybe Albon would have had enough room, and then and he would have just got past.
yeah, yeah. I think the rules should just try and promote overtaking. That wasn't. I don't see what Albon could have done to prevent that. So that, in my mind, it's not a racing incident. It's on Hamilton to have yielded because Albon was ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they wanted him to dip tires into the gravel, then I don't see what you could have done.
Yeah,
So yeah, they need to actually like be clear on what the rules are, what's allowed and what's not allowed, because this has been going on for too long now that, like, drivers moving under braking and it's not being a penalty. Verstappen in like 2000.
yeah, the Verstappen rule. Yeah,
Yeah, so like they need to actually sort it out,
yeah,
decide what is allowed.
yeah,
Because
yeah. I totally agree.
if the drivers know what the boundaries are and what if the teams know and everything, it just makes better racing in general. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah,
just need to sort it out.
yeah. It really came to a head for me on this whole steward issue last year at the Austrian Grand Prix when Verstappen made a great overtake and it was questioned whether that would have been a penalty. If that was a penalty, I would have been so annoyed because we just need to promote racing fundamentally. If people are losing out a little bit just by getting overtaken, I don't see why it's like that bad.
Yeah. I remember at the time I was thinking, like, if that's not a penalty, then the Vettel one isn't a penalty.
Yeah,
It's going through my head, but
yeah,
yeah, we saw Lando do the same thing to Perez.
yeah,
So
And it wasn't even questioned this year, so it's kind of showing a bit of improvement, I guess.
yeah, so they just need to like be clear on what the rules are and like what you can and what you can't do.
Yeah. So moving on from that, Hamilton got the penalty, and then after that, it seemed like Leclerc came out of nowhere. He dived it down the inside of Perez, and he was able to get up into behind the Mercedes. Like, I thought he actually had a really good drive considering how bad
he was behind
car is.
He was behind Lando, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or was he? Actually, no, he might have been in front.
He was ahead.
He was in front.
Yeah. But he was behind Perez.
Yeah.
But he passed Perez, but Perez got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Yeah, that's just, I don't know what to say about that, really. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how you. I don't want to criticize too much because it happens, but like, don't they have a button on their steering wheel?
Yeah. So I think it's just judging the braking distances into the pit lane and coming in on old tires, and
that's fair enough. That just happens. That just happens.
Yeah. So then Norris is behind Perez. He overtakes Perez. Some like argy-bargy move into turn 3, which I like to see.
Yeah.
And then Lando Norris is like the G. The last lap in the McLaren, he gets the fastest lap, and he gets onto the podium.
Yeah, he's literally. He said 4.8 second gap. So
yeah.
I don't know. I like the way he celebrated on the podium as well. When he slammed the champagne onto the podium, and he just started spraying out. I just like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Innovative, I'd say.
Yeah. Also, let me remind you that I said 4 or more drivers, F1.5 drivers on the podium, and I've already got 1.
Yeah, I said McLaren, Racing Point, and
AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri. I keep saying Toro Rosso. I might just carry on saying Toro Rosso. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
McLaren, Racing Point, and AlphaTauri are going to get onto the podium. I'm not sure about AlphaTauri at this point.
Yeah.
To be fair, they were looking decent. They were just an okay car. They're like the same level as Renault at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to get a podium anytime soon. But I do see Racing Point getting a podium at some point. Yeah. I feel like Perez will pull something out.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they could have got a podium this race, really.
I feel like I thought at the time that Perez might win the race, but they didn't pit.
Really?
Yeah, because like if you think about it, if they pit the same lap Albon does, and they actually get a good pit stop, they would have come out ahead of him, and they would have been behind the Mercedes on fresh tires.
Yeah.
And so literally anything could have happened when they can't go on curbs. So
yeah, that would have been really interesting to see.
Yeah, because I think like Perez is underrated, definitely underrated.
Yeah.
So I feel like he could have done something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe Albon would have just blown past him. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So overall, I would say that it was a really good race, and it was sort of the perfect race that we like. It was sort of the perfect thing that we needed for F1 to come back.
Yeah.
If it would have been a boring race, it would have been great to see it come back still. But having a race that we can all talk about is even better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the best possible race we could have had at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I did want to talk about that I didn't put in the document was the whole DAS situation before the race. So Red Bull protested DAS, but from what I've read, basically when they say protest, I think what Red Bull are trying to do is they were trying to get a clarification on whether DAS is actually legal before the end of the last race, so that they could fully clarify, yes, it's legal, no, it's not. So then Red Bull can get DAS on their car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like to be fair, they did ask before the race, so didn't
Yeah.
like create too much speculation and stuff after the race, because it would have just been a circus. They would have been like, "Oh, this is wrong, this is right,
Yeah.
it's crap," and then, but yeah, I feel like that's it isn't like a game changer. It isn't like some like amazing innovation that like gives you an extra 2 seconds or something. It's not like OP,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something you would like to have.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just an extra thing, because if Mercedes
Yeah.
didn't have it, they'd still be out
Yeah.
out in front. So I feel like it's just a minor thing. It's not like anything too
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's not like, I remember at the start of the season people were comparing it to the double diffuser or the blown diffuser.
No.
But I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that powerful, really.
The double diffuser.
Yeah.
The double diffuser was like 3 cars had it, and they were the three best cars in the beginning of the season. So I don't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, we always get this every so often, especially with Red Bull. They always love trying to clarify these sorts of things to the FIA. I remember back in 2017 with the T-wing, Red Bull kept on saying, "Oh, we need to ban the T-wing, we need to get it off the car," and then the FIA just said, "Oh, well, it's in the regulations, right?" And then the next race, Red Bull had a T-wing on the car.
Yeah,
so it's just sort of the same thing.
Yeah, now Red Bull, I don't know. Red Bull are either the first ones to do something or the first ones to complain.
Yeah.
It's a bit annoying, because I'm just like, shut up. I remember one time in Singapore, after qualifying, they put the cars out onto the on the start finish line, like first, second, and third, and then they do their interviews.
Yeah.
Vettel was just looking at the Red Bull car, just like, they just copied our car.
Yeah.
So literally, I don't know, Red Bull, they tried to innovate and stuff. They were like innovating. They were like the most innovative team at the beginning, but like now it's just Mercedes. Mercedes just do everything, and like Ferrari are also innovative, but like not this season or the last season.
Yeah.
Well, they were last season with the engine, but
yeah, I feel like the Red Bull front wing is probably is the most innovative of the year. You know, around the nose area.
Yeah, definitely.
They changed it a lot, but
Definitely.
yeah, it's all politics with Red Bull a lot.
Yeah,
but all the teams do it really. But it will be interesting to see if Red Bull can get DAS on the car soon, and whether that will actually help them.
Say Hungary or the race after.
Yeah,
is when we can expect it. That's just me guessing.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it, guys.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even really see that. I was looking at the car sometimes at the wheel, and they weren't even using DAS that much.
Yeah,
so I think it's all blown out of proportion, really.
As I said, I don't think it's like a game changer. I think it's just like, it gives them. They were using it during the safety car.
Yeah.
That's the most I recognized it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to warm up the tires. I don't think you need to use it after like a certain amount of laps with the tires, because they're already warm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also to like create slipstream and better straight line speed, like so like high grip. But like when you're out in front, you don't really need to do that.
Yeah. So So today, luckily recording it today. Reports are coming out saying that Alonso is going to get signed to Renault next year, which I talked about last episode, saying that could bring them a benefit for next year. what do you think about the news? Well, it seems like it's already basically confirmed from how much people are talking about it.
I'm just gonna say that first of all, I want to say I was not expecting Alonso to come back to Renault
Yeah,
or just F1 in general. I thought he was done. I That's what I was saying. I thought Alonso was done. I feel like he was just going to be that driver that might come back, might not come back, but in
yeah,
the end wasn't going to come back. But yeah, I'm happy to see him. I'm sure you are. I'm sure everyone is.
yeah, yeah,
It's like obviously you want the best drivers on the grid, competing with each other, and Alonso is one of the best drivers. You can't like take it away from him. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm really happy to see him.
yeah. Well, I would say that Alonso is, if you put, say if we were doing F2 or something, you put Alonso, all the drivers in, I'd definitely say Alonso would be up there, maybe winning. But
Yeah.
obviously the problem with Alonso is that he can't play the politics game of F1. He can't build a team around him. We saw at his second stint, no, even going back to McLaren, his first stint at McLaren, his second stint at Renault, his time at Ferrari, and his second time at McLaren, each time the relationship deteriorated over time because of problems within the team. Even though he was performing so well on the track.
The thing is about well, dude, we're not even going to talk about the McLaren one because that one was just they were just like not, that was just too much, like blackmail and illegal stuff. Like,
Yeah,
but I will say about the second stint at Renault, the car just wasn't good enough.
yeah,
So with Ferrari, I feel like 2010 and 2012. Those are the 2 years that I was like, okay, yeah, this is right. The relationship is good.
yeah,
2014, when the car just is not competing and it was just rubbish. Just like, I think he just saw that. I think he felt like it wasn't going anywhere. When he saw Mercedes. Obviously, if he stayed, then maybe things could have been different, you know.
yeah,
I feel like he thought that there was nothing he could do to make the team better, and I think that's why he just went to McLaren because he thought Honda is going to obviously be the factory car, so it's going to be the only opportunity he'd have to win. It's obviously the wrong decision in the end, but
yeah,
and I don't feel like the relationship with McLaren wasn't bad. It was more the relationship with Honda, if anything.
yeah,
So I feel like when McLaren got Renault engines and they were actually performing decently and they were competing in the top 10, and it was like we can fight now and all of that stuff. It was like I think he kind of I wouldn't say matured. Well, I would say matured.
yeah,
But yeah, I feel like it just wasn't like he didn't have as much any outbursts at all, to be honest.
yeah,
So I think his relationship with McLaren is still alright. I think he's just signing with Renault because it's the seat available.
yeah. Well, I think that Alonso does think that he is bigger than the team often, and I don't think that he has the ability to build a team around him. Because obviously we saw after 2014 that Ferrari were able to build a competitive car, and we saw that in 2019 after he left at McLaren, that McLaren were able to come back to the front of the midfield. So it seems that whenever he goes to a team, the team keeps on getting hyped up as the next thing, and then something goes wrong because he's too big. He needs to go to a team like Red Bull or Mercedes fundamentally, because I can't see Renault producing a car in 22 that will be fighting for the front.
The disappointing thing is Red Bull is just like there's no chance of that ever happening.
Yeah.
There's like just too many things. Like there's Max there, so Max is their out and out number one driver at this point. see, Albon might have something to say about that, but not anytime soon. I'm looking at it and I don't see them as like, obviously they have Honda engines. The relationship with Honda is just not there anymore. When you say Mercedes, I feel like he's not going there with Hamilton. I think he would take that seat if Hamilton was there though.
Yeah.
I don't think they would offer it to him because of what he brings. Because Mercedes feel like I feel like Mercedes will win without him. They don't need him.
Yeah.
He needs them more than they need him.
Yeah.
The only two cars he realistically could have got into was Renault and McLaren.
Yeah.
I feel like Ferrari weren't going to give it to him just because of the direction they wanted to go. Because they want Charles as their number one.
Yeah.
See like what they can do.
Well, if I was looking in from Alonso's perspective, I would choose Aston Martin over Renault, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because that team has great engineering and they know how to manage their budget. They're getting new investment and they have Mercedes engines which are reliable and proven. So I don't know, it will be interesting to see because obviously he knows the team already and he won championships with that team.
Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully Renault can like pull something out of the bag to like make it competitive, like, at least.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see this man just wasting away in the midfield. We want to see him contending for like championships.
Yeah.
Or at least wins.
Yeah.
It's the same case with Vettel. As much mistakes he makes, I hope at this point he at least goes to Aston Martin. I'd love to see him in Mercedes, but I hope he goes to Aston Martin if that doesn't work out, so that we can have like everyone on the grid. Because it's like Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton. Those would be the three champions.
Yeah.
Raikkonen, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because when we were growing up and we were following F1, Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, Raikkonen, these guys were like the big ones. Like these guys were the next big thing. And it kind of it kind of seems like this is the beginning of the end. So I feel like Hamilton, Vettel, Raikkonen, and even though Alonso's coming back, I still feel like these guys are going to be going out eventually because we do have the next wave. Ever since Carlos Sainz and Verstappen came in, that's been the next wave of drivers with Leclerc, Norris, Russell as well.
To be honest, with these guys at the top, Hamilton, Vettel, Alonso, Raikkonen as well. I'd include Raikkonen because of his time with Lotus.
Yeah.
When I was watching them, there was always the new wave coming through, like Sebastian, Buemi, Alguersuari, but these guys just didn't amount to anything. And it's kind of good to see young drivers like actually like going somewhere. So like we see Russell performing, but I'd have to say that I'd have to say it is probably the.
Yeah. One more thing about this story that I would like to bring up is, I'm a massive fan of IndyCar, and I was hoping so bad that Alonso would fully commit to IndyCar and try and get that Indy 500 win. What do you think? How do you think? Because obviously Renault won't allow him to do an IndyCar. I don't think they'll allow him to do any Indy 500 if it's on the same day as Monaco, obviously.
Yeah, probably not.
But I don't know if I'm that hopeful of him getting that Indy 500 still. One quick correction that I need to make before this next section is that I completely forgot that Alonso is doing the Indy 500 this year, next month. So it is possible that he will win it before going to Renault, but many of the points I make still may stand depending on the outcome of that race.
How old is he now? Like
39.
39. I feel like if he goes to like a few seasons with Renault, doesn't amount to anything, he can always just go back to IndyCar.
Yeah.
IndyCar will always take him.
Yeah.
Just needs to find a team, so I'm not really worried about that at the moment.
Yeah. I would rather see him win the Indy 500 than him winning another championship.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I can't agree with that. But
I don't know. It's just seeing someone actually do the Triple Crown again would be amazing.
But like Triple Crown is like a legit thing.
Yeah, it is.
No, but it's not a legit thing. It's not like you get a trophy for it.
Yeah, but you get the Indy 500 win.
Yeah, no, but like you get respect. People are like, oh, he won these 3 races, but it's not like, oh, he actually won the Triple Crown. Like, it's not a legit thing.
Yeah, but
it's not like
the only one person has ever done it. So to be the second person to do it.
Yeah, no, that would be impressive. It'd be like, oh, he's one of the best racers wherever he goes and stuff like that. But let's be honest, like Formula One is like number one when it comes to motorsports.
That is true, but
like it has number one in the name, like Formula One. Formula One.
But he's already done F1. He needs to do IndyCar. He hasn't given IndyCar a proper shot yet. I want to see him in there doing the like at Phoenix Motor Speedway, at Barber, whatever. I want him to see actual Indy races, not just the Indy 500.
Yeah, but I don't think he would want to do like a whole season though. It's based in America, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, he lives in like Europe, so I don't know. I wouldn't like guess what his life decision is going to be, but I feel like he obviously loves Formula One.
Yep.
And he obviously wants to actually just give it a go, because I feel like everywhere this man went after Renault was just an almost. He almost won this. He almost won that. He almost signed with this team and won a bunch of championship. He almost signed with this team.
Yeah.
Almost. I feel like after Renault, he just made wrong decision after wrong decision with his driving.
I always love this question of he got offered a seat at Red Bull in 2009, and if he went there, I think he could have got 7 championships in total.
That is actually, if you look at it, 2009, Red Bull were winning the second half of the season. 10, 11, 12. It just and I feel like if he stayed with Ferrari, maybe he could have been a 4-time world champion right now.
Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. So that's about all the news there is. What do you think about? So we're going into the Styrian Grand Prix this weekend. How do you think it's going to shake up from last weekend?
Ooh. I've been thinking about this one a lot. I'm just gonna, if Mercedes can't sort out that vibration issue or sensory issue, then I feel like Max is definitely gonna win.
All right. Yeah.
But
that is possible. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just gonna say.
Red Bull did retire though. That's the thing that I would worry about.
Yeah, but that is true. But if you think about it, like They did have a double retirement, didn't they? But yeah, I feel like they can fix that. I don't think that reliability is going to be an issue in the race afterwards.
Yeah.
Or maybe that like engine was just, I don't know, maybe sitting in like sitting in the flipping box too long or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be the problem. Like they might have like a few cobwebs or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it's gonna be Max, Hamilton,
Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna be
I could definitely see that, yeah. I would say for the podium of this race, I'll say Max, actually no. I feel like Hamilton's gonna win. I feel like it's gonna be Hamilton, Max, Perez.
Ooh, Sergio Perez. I feel like Bottas is like just getting disrespected by us like every single time. We don't put him in any of our
I predicted he would win last week, and I got it right.
Yeah. I get that, but like I forgot about him. I forgot about him in the championship one last time. Yeah, I need to put more respect on Bottas's name.
Yeah. So how do you feel the midfield will shape up?
I feel like Racing Point was, I don't want to say overhyped, but they were over. I was thinking Racing Point were going to do something ridiculous this race. I thought they were going to be absolutely like just hella quick.
Yeah.
Like Stroll just had Stroll. Like, he obviously had issues, but he's shit anyway, so I don't really care. Yeah, I feel like Perez is the only hope for that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely McLaren, Racing Point, Ferrari.
I'm not too sure because I don't know.
It feels like
we'll
tiers.
It's only one track, so we'll have to see, and it's a bit of a different track to all the other ones. So
yeah, no, but like if you were putting it into tiers, from what we've seen, I'd say Mercedes is definitely S tier, Red Bull is A tier, B tier is Racing Point, McLaren, and Ferrari, and I'd say C tier is what do you call it?
AlphaTauri.
Renault, and AlphaTauri, and then the tier below that is just everyone else. So Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Williams.
Yeah,
I was actually quite impressed with Williams this weekend. They were actually Russell's literally almost got into Q2, so hopefully he can do it this race.
It feels like they're in the midfield now. Like they're not just on their own at the back.
Yeah, I feel like they'll get a point here and there. I wouldn't get my hopes too far up, but Williams needs to sort out the structure of their team as well as Ferrari. I don't know what it is with these old teams, like not knowing how to run an F1 team. Like, it's not 1975 anymore, guys. You can buy a gearbox. It's fucking ridiculous. Like they're just like, oh, we're gonna make a gearbox. We're Williams. Like, shut up, man. You're rubbish. They're so bad.
Yeah.
So I was just watching them last season. Yeah, I've never seen a team. They've had a Mercedes engine for how long, and they just haven't used it.
Yeah.
It's like,
what were we gonna say?
I'm gonna criticize Williams a bit more, so it's not really important.
Yeah. Wait, so what would you predict? What would you say fastest lap for the top for F1?
Oh, who did I say was going to be fastest lap last race?
Did
I say? No, I swear I said Lando Norris, but
nah,
whatever.
I feel like you did F1.5, but not F1.
Oh, yeah. I did say someone Lando Norris for one of the fastest laps. F1.5. Yeah, so I was right then. F1.5. He's got the fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
F1. Yeah.
I feel like
Would
the
you say?
fastest lap for F1 and F1.5 might be the same.
I feel like we just had a ridiculous race last race.
Yeah, I feel like everything I said was just like, you know what, yeah, Mohammed, I know you like to be right and stuff, but nothing you say will be right this race. That's what I was hearing that voice like, but I think this race maybe Perez will get fastest lap
Yeah. So that's for both categories.
for both categories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd say I'll predict Albon. I'll predict Albon again, fastest lap, and then I'll say
Yeah, I can definitely see
F1
Albon.
F1.5. Yeah, Perez. My podium F1.5 podium. I'd say Perez, Sainz, Perez. Wait, Perez, Sainz, and then I'll say Ocon.
My F1.5 podium is going to be Sainz, Norris, and Perez.
Okay, yeah. What one thing that I did want to bring up is, did you have any thoughts about Ocon this race? Because I wasn't too sure about him. He did go a bit under the radar. He didn't really show that much this race.
Yeah, I feel like he did alright. Got a couple points. It wasn't like anything amazing. It wasn't anything like bad. I feel like it was just a solid performance. I thought it was like a 3 out of 10, like a 6 out of 10 performance, just average.
Yeah.
Can't really complain. I feel like the team would be impressed by that performance, considering he has a race in something ridiculous like 500 days or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it was a decent performance. So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about him.
Yeah. I feel like maybe this race he'll do better.
Maybe. But then at the same time, there won't be like, I don't feel like there'll be as much reliability issues this race. So he might not even get points.
Yeah.
Because we saw Ricardo was ahead of him.
Yeah.
His car exploded or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 2 Red Bulls tired, so
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing to say that if no one retired, a Ferrari might not have got points off merit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous to imagine, like saying a Ferrari.
One thing, going back to the Austrian Grand Prix, one thing I did want to talk about was I'm a bit worried about Haas. It kind of seems like when they came in 2016, they had a really good first year, and then they built 2018 they got top of the midfield. It kind of seems like that sort of honeymoon period has ended now with Haas. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not too confident about, because they're so dependent on Ferrari for engines and for aero as well. I'm not too sure how they're going to do going into the future.
I was looking at when I saw Haas last season. They were just last season. They weren't like, how do I say this? I would say last season they performed decent. Some races, other races, they're just absolutely just horrible. It's like just terrible.
Yeah, slower than Williams.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at them and just like, I don't understand how like this could have happened, because they did. Because now that we know, it's pretty much confirmed that Ferrari engine was illegal. Like,
yeah,
like you should be like getting like 7th, 8th, maybe 6th occasionally, like all the way down to 10th. Like you shouldn't be 15th and 16th, like bumping into each other as well. The drivers are like ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do feel like they need.
Yeah, that's one thing I would say about Haas is that so they've had that same driver lineup since 2017. I feel like they need to change something with the driver lineup, because we always talk about Stroll, but I would definitely say that Grosjean is like sort of down in those bottom tiers of drivers. Like, he doesn't really impress me at all. He doesn't show any good racecraft. He doesn't show any qualifying prowess. There's nothing interesting about him.
The thing is about Grosjean, he was good for like 2 seasons in the Lotus car.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 3, but I'm not really sure. When he came to Haas, his first season, he was pretty good. But yeah, I feel like he's just deteriorated. He's just gotten worse and worse consistently. Yeah. But I wouldn't take him out because I feel like we need bad drivers in F1 for safety cars and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair enough, I guess.
Like, you saw what he did at Baku a couple of seasons ago when he just crashed into the wall during a safety car.
Yeah. But
I've never seen that in my life. Just a car weaving into a wall. Like I don't hate the guy, but at some point you have to think he's definitely doing it on purpose.
Yeah. For me, I would say they need to restart. They need to. I don't know about Magnussen. He's okay, I guess, but so this weekend in F2, right? There were 4 Ferrari drivers leading in the feature race. So you got Mick Schumacher, Callum Ilott, right? Robert Schwartzman as well. I feel like one of those guys need to take the seat from Grosjean next year if Haas actually want to build into something that can actually fight for the front of the midfield, at least going into 2022.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they might get a seat soon anyway because I feel like Raikkonen's retiring this season.
Yeah.
Just looking at all the signs, I feel like he feels like his time may be up.
Yeah.
What is he? He's 40. He's like 40 something now. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, I feel like those guys might definitely get a seat like sooner than you might think. So.
Yeah.
And maybe Antonio Giovinazzi might get dropped as well because he's not been impressive either.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like I want him to do well because he's Italian. He's a Ferrari driver, so like, if you get an Italian guy in an Italian car and they're actually like doing well, like, that is that would be what do you call it? That would bring more attention to F1, but I feel like he's just average at best. So
with Haas and Alfa Romeo, I don't know how much of their problems right now are with the engine or if it's with the chassis and aero, because I would say, seeing how bad Ferrari are doing with their engine, that if they did have a better engine, they would be up there fighting closer with Renault and McLaren. Possibly.
Because I saw Ocon was battling the Alfa Romeos for like a part of the race, so I don't feel like Alfa Romeo and Haas are like far off, but I feel like they're just like a step behind.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had a better engine, maybe they would be doing something, but it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. We'll have to see with those two teams. I feel like they need to get more Ferrari junior drivers in there fighting, but we'll have to see. So I think that's about everything.
I think that's
any
everything.
Any other comments about F1? What do you think about like the sort of social distancing at the race and the masks? Like, I kind of got used to it after a while.
I didn't really need to get used to it, to be honest, because I wasn't really when I started watching the race. I didn't really watch the build up to the race. I just waited till 2:10. That's UK time. So I just saw it on I don't know what, BBC or Sky Sport. I just saw that race starts at 2:10. I watched it at 2:10. So but I saw the podium thing. Podium wasn't too different, to be honest. It just like the whole interviewing like one by one. Like other than them like maybe hugging each other, but like
Yeah.
McLaren team weren't social distancing at all. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think they're all in the same bubble anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to give a bit of leniency as well.
Yeah.
Especially if they are testing enough, I feel like they can be a bit lapsed with the rules a little bit in those situations. Obviously, there were no fans. Did that change the viewing experience for you? Because last year, the fans for Verstappen, obviously, they were really a big part of the race.
To be honest with you, fans, when it's F1, like fans don't really make a massive difference, apart from when it's Verstappen.
Yeah.
Like if we're being honest,
Or Italy.
maybe like Vettel at Germany last year. That Vettel at Germany last year, that was loud. That was loud. I could hear it through my TV.
Yeah.
And when it got to go up to second, that was ridiculously loud. But
Yeah.
but when I wanted to see what the Netherlands Grand Prix was
Yeah.
going to be like. That was going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
We'll have
but
to see with that next year.
yeah, I
Maybe.
don't feel possibly. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like fans is like they make a massive difference because if
Yeah.
we're being like 100% honest, if everything on track was exactly the same, then we wouldn't have heard much cheering anyway. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I
But
don't
yeah.
know.
As someone that has gone to the British Grand Prix before, I would say that it is great seeing the fans in.
Oh
sort of
yeah, I
seeing the
forgot about
fans-
I forgot about Britain.
seeing all the fans around, and it does add a lot of atmosphere to the race, sort of the festival feel. But I don't really care as long as we get racing.
Yeah. No, I would say that yeah, I also forgot about Hamilton at Silverstone. That loud whenever he
Yeah.
overtakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, fans, it doesn't make like a huge difference.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make a massive difference to me. So
It's just I'd rather have them there. Maybe eventually, hopefully.
yeah, we can live. I can live without them.
We'll live
so.
without it. Yeah. So I guess that's about everything, really. Let's hope for a good race this weekend.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. In before we get like a Mercedes 1-2 dominance.
I don't get why when it's like when it's one of those type of races, like just film the midfield. We don't care about the front
Yeah.
anymore. Like
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully we get to see some good overtakes.
Yeah.
Hopefully Ferrari have improved.
Yeah. It's all looking good though. I'm glad F1's
Yeah.
back finally.
Yeah, I'm glad too.